The clang of metal boots on the training deck echoed through the early morning fog. Sweat dripped into the eyes of the soldiers standing in formation, the cold air biting at exposed skin. At the center, a Marine general, his expression rigid with authority, stepped forward, intent on demonstrating a point. Then his fist swung toward her. He didn't know her. He couldn't know. 20 years of battlefield experience, countless missions behind enemy lines, a lifetime of discipline were hidden beneath the calm exterior of Commander Selene Drake. The punch that should have landed was met with a subtle step, a deflection so precise it seemed effortless, but behind it was decades of honed instinct, memory of every strike encounter she had mastered. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. The training hall went silent. Every soldier froze mid-breath. The general's eyes widened as he felt the deflection, the strength and skill behind it. Selene's gaze met his not with aggression, but with a quiet command that suggested, think carefully before you act. She had joined the Navy SEALs 2 decades ago, the youngest female recruit to pass the grueling selection. She had been the first in countless operations, the last to leave when extraction seemed impossible. The one who carried teammates out of fire and chaos, while the world watched from afar. And yet here, in broad daylight, in a training exercise meant to test discipline, her experience went unrecognized. He swung again, faster this time, driven by pride and the illusion of control. Selene countered, her movements measured, each block and step calculated to protect both herself and him. The room's tension thickened. Dust swirled in sunlight streaming through high windows, and the faint hum of the heating system seemed deafening. Soldiers leaned forward, eyes wide, breaths held. The moral weight of the moment wasn't lost on her. Was it right to overpower a superior? Could she expose her full strength without shattering respect or morale? Yet she also understood the lesson embedded in the encounter. Skill without control can be dangerous, and authority without humility is incomplete. A third attempt came. Selene, with a subtle shift of weight and a slight pivot, used his own momentum against him, guiding the punch harmlessly past her shoulder. The general stumbled slightly, shock flashing across his face. Whispers erupted across the ranks. Did you see that? She's unbelievable. 20 years. The soldiers watching weren't just impressed, they were riveted. They saw more than combat skill. They saw restraint, patience, and the embodiment of every SEAL principle distilled into a single human form. Selene finally spoke, her voice calm, but carrying the authority of countless missions. Respect is earned in every moment, sir. Even here, even now. The general froze, a flush of realization crossing his features. For the first time, he saw her not as a subordinate, not as a trainee, but as a professional whose experience and dedication commanded acknowledgement. One of the younger recruits whispered, barely audible, "I've never seen anyone move like that." Another nodded, eyes wide, hands tightening into fists, as though bracing themselves for the invisible weight of her mastery. The tension broke gradually. The general straightened, his pride intact, but his perspective shifted. "I underestimated you," he admitted, voice roughened by humility. "Not again." Selene allowed herself a brief nod. Not of triumph, but acknowledgement. She had proven a point, without humiliating, without rage. In that moment, she had taught a lesson more enduring than any drill could impart. True mastery does not shout. It teaches quietly, commanding respect through presence, action, and ethical clarity. The soldiers around them exhaled collectively. Murmurs of admiration spread through the hall. Some clapped softly, others simply stared in stunned silence. It wasn't just her skill, it was her courage to hold her own against authority, her restraint, and her unwavering moral compass. Later, as the general walked away, his head held a little higher, Selene reflected on the encounter. She thought about missions where lives depended on split-second decisions, where trust was the currency of survival. The training hall had been a battlefield in miniature, and once again, she had walked away without a scratch. Having taught what every soldier should know, skill without compassion is hollow, authority without awareness is fragile. And in the quiet after the demonstration, her fellow SEALs and recruits approached. Respect was no longer whispered. It was tangible, earned in full view. They asked questions, listened intently, and observed the subtle movements, the tactical mind, the quiet resilience that had defined her career. She allowed herself a small smile. She thought she'd never see such disbelief in a controlled environment. She had been underestimated countless times, and yet every time patience, discipline, and mastery proved more powerful than aggression or ego. Because strength, true strength, doesn't always roar. Sometimes it waits, it observes, it corrects. And when it acts, it changes everything. Because kindness doesn't vanish, it waits, and it finds its way back. As sunlight faded over the training deck, casting long shadows across polished wood and steel, Selene knew the lesson would linger far longer than the echoes of fists or the hum of the heaters. And she had once again proven that experience, wisdom, and courage are forces that speak louder than any rank or title. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts below and subscribe to Whispered Words for more cinematic, emotionally powerful military stories of courage, mastery, and integrity.